So I want to talk to you about using the Specle website, how to understand how to prepare your document to upload back up to the Specle website. So in terms of using the Specle website, you're going to specle.net, and then it's a massive media porthole. So it means that your clients can go up and create a marketing campaign. They decide which newspapers they want to work with, or they'll employ a marketing agency to do it. You, as a designer, will be told, I want a fireplace in the Guardian newspaper, or I want a podium in another newspaper. You need to get started on the Specle website. Just go to the bottom of that page, right? Go to the Specle website, go to the bottom of the page, get started, find the newspaper. So in this case, it's The Guardian. Find the Guardian subsection, because there's a lot of different sizes, and each and every one of these sections and each and every newspaper will have the same type of adverts. So they'll have fireplaces and they'll have podiums, but they will be different sizes for each section. So make sure you're going into the correct section. I'm going into film and music section. So now, once you have actually gone into the section, you need to pay attention to what's going on up here. There are several things that are a little important and some things that are very, very important. First of all, convert to CMYK. It's very, very important that all your documents, whether they've been made in Photoshop or any other application, need to be in CMYK before they're uploaded back up to Specle. So even if you're putting a Photoshop image into an InDesign document, it has to be changed to CMYK first. Now, they give you what's called an ISO profile, and that's a color profile. If I just click on it and then go to my downloads section, there it is. This needs to go into the color library, and you'll need to find out where that is on your computer. So I had a look around, and on this computer, I'm going to go computer, and inside you've got the Mac hard drive, you've got the library separate, and then I'm looking inside application support, finding the Adobe menu, and then within the Adobe menu we've got the color section, and even within then there's all sorts of other things. I'm particularly interested in the color settings. So that document, let's just get it up again. That document I would drag in to the settings. Now, I can't do it because I need password, all the secret passwords to be able to do that here. I'm not able to show you that. But once you've done that, when you're in InDesign, you can look at what that color profile is going to do. And what it does is it shows you, or it uses the correct settings for the paper and for the use of color. Now, if I just simply have a look at that, you can actually double click it and look at it anyway. It doesn't install it, it's not like font, so there's no installer or anything like that. But really all the color profile is telling me that the preferred computer management system is Apple. That's fine, we're using Apple. We are to use CMYK. It will use lab color. Now lab color, we discussed that when we looked at color output. It will change the color space a little bit. Well, actually sometimes quite a lot. And therefore, if you do put this into your color library and you select it from InDesign, then you will see a color shift. And that's to mimic the newsprint that you'll be using. Now there's also what's called a rendering intent, and that's perceptual. There are 4 types of rendering intents. So I'll show you that in a moment. Now, so I'm just going to park that for a moment. That, as I say, would be downloaded and placed in the library, taking that route. And I'll put that diagram up on Teams so you can see where it is. Certainly on this computer it does change. Sometimes it's hidden. Now, over here we've got the general specification. These are the people who set up the specifications, and this is the standard that you need to output. So once you've made your document, you're going to export it as a PDF, and then you would come back here to the Specle website and you would upload it. So you're going to download the InDesign template, and then once you've exported as your PDF from InDesign, you send your advert via this button here. So you would send your PDF. So I will just take you through that process. Now also note, crop marks are not allowed for ads with a bleed. That's actually a little bit confusing. Basically they're saying you're not allowed crop marks. It's worthwhile looking into notes as well, because I spotted it says, we never accept advertising copy with crop marks, colour bars or printer marks. Advertising should be supplied to exact dimensions only. So whereas I said you could put a bleed in, they're now saying no bleed. So it doesn't quite make sense to say not allowed for ads with bleed. Okay, so no, don't put a bleed in here. Just check, always check the notes for any additional information. And then if you're not sure about something, there's always contacts for you to actually get information from. So you can always ask questions. Now, I told you to pick a fireplace, and the fireplace was 25 × 8. Which is this kind of shape. A fireplace will always look like a fireplace. It sits in the middle of a paper, and it will be over 2 pages. But it will, and you'll find it in all different newspapers, but it will be a different physical size for each newspaper. So my suggestion would be, take a screen grab of this area up here, take a screen grab of the notes if necessary. Take a screen grab of this, so you've got all the information that you need. Download the profile, and then download the template. So I'm just going to click on the template, and I'm going to save it into my downloads folder. And as I say, the only time I'm going to come back to this website is to then come back to this and send them the ad. So I can use this button here, or there's a button before you get into this section. So if I just go back, going back, there'll be an upload button. Let's just go back to the beginning again. Go through to the Guardian. So here you can see there's an upload button here, so you could just use that button instead. So I've downloaded the advert. I'm now going to open the advert. It's an IDML, which is in InDesign markup language. It's actually a template, so it won't let you copy on top. So you are going to place your redesigned advert. So you need to go back to your advert and use the size. So let's go back into Specle. Bit slow today. Make a note of that size, or look at your screen grabs, and you're going to make a document the exact same size in Photoshop and prepare your image for the advert. I'm going to prepare my document to the same size, and this is Photoshop. So we need 329 millimeters by 250. Remember, in this case, no bleed, so exact sizes. 300 resolution because it's for print. And then I always like to work in RGB in case I want to use filters and some effects. But it's up to you. You could start straight away from CMYK and then you don't have to change it at the end. So I'll go with RGB. And I'm just going to bring in one that I've already worked on. So in terms of design, remember it's going to be in between two pages. You might want to put on a guide. So if we go into new guide layout and I ask for 2 columns with no rows, then it will give me the middle section, and I've just got a visual guide to help me. So now I'm going to output this. Let's say this is my finished piece of work, and of course I'm going to save it as with all the layers as a Photoshop document or a TIFF document. Then I'm probably going to flatten it and say save as a TIFF, which is more commonly used across industries. So I'm going to save it as a TIFF. Now, before I do that, remember I saved it, I started as RGB, so I need to change it to CMYK. So image mode CMYK. And then you probably will see some color shift, not too much on this one, but some colors will move more than others. So I'm going to save that as a TIFF, and I'm going to bring that into InDesign. When naming, try and name things that are useful to you. So this is my Lady Killer folder. This is my Lady Killer flat. And then I'll bring in that image. So I'm going to go File, Place, bring in the TIFF. Now it might look like poor quality, but remember you have got a viewer. So my display performance is just on draft at the moment. And I can put it up to high quality to see what it's really going to look like. Okay. The profile, if you have been successful and you put it into your library, then you can take a look at Edit and you can assign a profile to this document, or you could convert the whole document. And really what you're looking at is assigning this. So you would find it in this list here. Okay. And it's a CMY profile we're engaging with, which are all the print documentations. Up here, you have everything for the screen, including things like PAL SECOM, which is French television, or NTSC, which is American television. So you see it's all screen-based stuff. So that's where you would choose it. Of course, I could have done a lot of this actual design in InDesign, but here I am. I've brought it in from Photoshop. I'm now going to output it to PDF. Now, if you remember on the Specle site, you are asked to save it as 2001 PDF. Very quick route to that is to say File, PDF Presets, 2001. You can certainly go through the export menu and you can choose it from your drop-down menu. I'm going to make sure I'm saving it somewhere and naming it relevantly. So I've named it and then I'm going to save it. And here, if I'd gone through the export system, I could pick the standard from this drop-down menu here. And if you did need to put mocks and bleeds on, put them on here, but this advert doesn't require them. So it's simply an export. And that's it. You can check how you need to supply your PDF. And once you've done that, you need to decide whether it's pages or spreads. Spread will put it on one double page, and pages will separate like this. So you've got 2 pages here. spread will put them together. You might